Most gardeners don't realize their plants aren't dying from lack of fertilizer, they're dying from misguided feeding. The biggest mistake is dumping random nutrients into stressed soil without understanding moisture balance and root activity. When roots can't breathe or absorb properly, even rich soil behaves like dead ground. That's when you see yellow leaves, stalled growth, and plants that look fed but still fail. Before we go deeper, I want you to understand something I've learned from working in backyard beds, raised systems, and even controlled hydro setups. If you don't track what's happening below the surface, you're guessing. I've been using a soil monitoring meter that checks moisture levels, temperature, and light intensity across multiple zones of the garden. It sounds simple, but most plant failures I've seen come from overwatering or underwatering that nobody notices in time. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. Now let's fix what's actually happening in your soil and bring those plants back to life using natural fertilizers that actually work in real gardens, not theory. The first thing you need to understand is that plants don't respond to fertilizer types, they respond to biological availability. If the soil is off, nothing else matters. So let's start with what I've consistently tested across real beds. Compost, well-rotted manure, worm castings, banana peel tea, eggshell powder, wood ash in tiny amounts, coffee grounds, fish emulsion, seaweed extract, green manure cover crops, chopped comfrey leaves, grass clippings used fresh in thin layers, molasses diluted in water, nettle tea, diluted urine fertilizer used correctly, bone meal, blood meal, Epsom salt for magnesium correction, aloe vera liquid extract, fermented fruit scrap tea, rice water, and crushed charcoal biochar. Those are your 21 natural fertilizers, but here's the part most people miss. None of them work if your soil is either too dry, too compacted, or biologically inactive. That's why some gardeners swear by compost while others see no results at all. Let's break this down the way I actually use it in real gardens. Compost and worm castings are your foundation. In raised beds, I typically mix about 2 to 3 centimeters into the topsoil every few weeks during active growth. That alone can restart weak plants because it restores microbial activity. Fish emulsion and seaweed extract are what I use when plants show stress within a week. A diluted mix, usually about 5 to 10 milliliters per liter of water for seaweed and slightly stronger for fish emulsion depending on the brand, gives a quick nitrogen and micronutrient lift without burning roots. When I want long-term soil improvement, I lean on green manures and chopped plant residues like comfrey or grass clippings. These slowly break down and feed the soil continuously instead of giving a short spike. Now here's something most gardeners get wrong about banana peels and eggshells. Throwing them directly into soil doesn't help quickly. I only use them after proper preparation, banana peels fermented into liquid tea for potassium release, and eggshells dried, crushed finely, and aged before mixing into beds for calcium availability. Wood ash is another misunderstood input. In small amounts, less than a handful per square meter, it can balance pH and add potassium, but overuse will lock nutrients and damage soil structure. I've seen entire beds ruined from over-application. Coffee grounds and rice water are mild but powerful when used consistently. Coffee grounds improve structure when composted first, and rice water feeds microbial life in container systems where soil biology is weaker. Molasses and fermented fruit teas are what I use when I want to kickstart microbial activity. They don't feed plants directly, they feed the soil life that feeds the plants. That distinction is everything in modern gardening. Now let's talk about why plants suddenly come back to life after these inputs. In almost every case I've observed, it's not one fertilizer doing the work. It's the combination of moisture stability, microbial activation, and slow nutrient release happening at the same time. That's why I always tell serious growers, stop chasing single solutions. If you're working with containers or small backyard plots, you'll notice results faster because you can control water and feeding cycles more precisely. In larger beds, consistency matters more than intensity. Small, repeated applications always outperform heavy one-time feeding. And here's where most people lose their plants again, they overfeed after seeing improvement. The moment plants perk up, they stop maintaining the system that revived them. Then growth crashes again a few weeks later. Healthy growth is not a boost. It's a rhythm. When you combine these natural fertilizers correctly with proper moisture control, you start seeing darker leaves, stronger stems, deeper root development, and much better resilience against heat stress. Before you try anything else, focus on the basics: balanced moisture, consistent organic input, and patience for soil biology to rebuild. If you're serious about fixing plant health instead of guessing your way through it, start paying attention to what's happening under the soil surface, not just what's happening on top. And if you found this useful, subscribe to FarmLogic. There's a lot more we can fix together when we stop treating plants like decorations and start treating them like living systems that respond to real biological conditions.